I'm Ellis Martin. Join me now for a conversation with Andrew Thake, Divisional Director of Minds and Money, as we discuss Minds and Money Miami, coming to Miami, Florida, the Wall Street of the South, February 23rd and 24th, 2023. Minds and Money Miami will gather leading CEOs from the mining and investment landscape from across the globe, driving dialogue focusing on key global trends, collaboration strategies, and the pathway towards energy transition. Andrew, welcome to the program. Nice to visit with you today.
Delighted to be with you today, Ellis.
I would say that 90% of our visits have been in London, England, but the next time I see you, I will see you in Miami on February 23rd and February 24th of this year for Minds and Money Miami in a very warm place.
Yeah, we're delighted to come to Miami for the first time. It's been a city that's been on our radar for a while. We did used to do an event up in New York before COVID, but I think that in the post-COVID environment, we looked at the US and we looked at where to have our next Minds and Money event in North America. And I think a couple of things stood out as far as Miami is concerned. I think firstly, it's got a very, very strong investor base, lots of retiree retail investors there. But I think secondly as well, it's also got a very strong institutional base there as well, the Wall Street of the South, and it's getting stronger. We've seen a lot of relocate there during the COVID years, and having relocated to Miami, they've decided not to move back and, waiting to be convinced and pitched out by mining companies who are coming along to our Miami events.
It's certainly a very comfortable location in winter to get together and talk about investment potential possibilities and indeed talk about what's happening right now in the market. And I think I will say it. I believe we're having a nice run in gold, which we haven't seen in at least a couple of years. And it'll be a great place to really reach out to gold bugs and future gold bugs in that particular area. As you mentioned, it is heavily populated by high value investors, family offices, and institutions. And that has just grown in the last couple of years due to the pandemic, as you stated.
Yeah, I think that with gold, it's been an interesting last 12 months. I think 2022 we could describe as choppy, turbulent for gold. But 2023, if you speak to any analyst, any investor, they're very, very bullish about the price of gold. It's only going to go one way, and it's going to go upwards. And I think that is going to be drawing interest, especially at the exploration stage for gold mining companies. So we've got a lot of gold mining companies coming to the Miami event, and I think that investors who sign up for our event will find a lot of gold companies there that they want to go and allocate their money to.
So what can investors expect to see when they sign up for your event, as you put it? You're walking through the door. What do you see? Where do you go? What is the event like for people who have not been there?
I guess there's two purposes. Firstly, to educate, but also to provide an investment platform for those looking to invest into mining companies. Taking the educational side first, we'll have 80 mining companies at the event, and they will all be exhibiting at the event. So they have booths that you can go and come up to, find out more about the company. They'll also be presenting their mining spotlights at the event, which is basically a 10-minute pitch or update where they tell you about their mining project, their mining company, and why you should invest with them. The 80 mining companies we have are commodity agnostic. So, as you said, there was a strong bias towards gold and precious metals companies, purely because probably about 50% of the mining companies globally are gold and precious. But we've also got strong representation from battery mineral companies, lithium, cobalt, graphite, etc., nickel, copper, and also some base metal companies as well. So that's, I guess, the educational piece. And that's also supported by a number of panel discussions with high-profile investors and also high-profile MCs and radio hosts, such as your good self, Ellis. If they like the content that they hear and they like the mining companies that are presenting, they can also choose to schedule one-to-one meetings with those mining companies. The meeting plan is essentially like a matchmaking platform. We open it 3 weeks before the event. So if you are an investor and you sign up, Ellis, you can either choose to pre-schedule your meetings with mining companies, and each meeting is 30-minute slots, or you can decide after hearing the company present, you can then decide to go and book a one-to-one meeting with them afterwards. So that gives you a great business opportunity. And the last but no means least, because we want you to enjoy yourselves as well, we've got nightly drinks receptions as well. So you can always go and do some more informal networking over a glass of wine or beer.
I think the best thing to do, and we've been talking with mining companies in South Florida on the air, on the radio, all over South Florida for about 20 years now. The best thing to do is really to get to know the individuals that run these companies before you put your money into it. And that's what I'm constantly telling the audience. Get to know the people. It's really good. And if you develop a relationship relationship with them. You get a feel for who they are, and you get excited about what they see in their eyes. In other words, a lot of these presidents, CEOs, and the corporate development individuals of these companies, if they're really excited and they have passion about what they're representing, there's a reason for that. You might want to spend some time over a beer, over a cup of coffee, or in these very intensive one-on-one meetings where you're really sitting down, just you and one or two individuals from the company really just getting a feel for what everything's about. It's a really rare opportunity in any sector to sit down and get this kind of information in one event with potentially 80 companies. I don't know how you can do 80 meetings, but there's some individuals that I've met that have done at least 30 at your events.
I mean, I think there's an interesting point stemming from that. I think there's always that sort of like debate about which matters most if you're an investor, investing in the mining company because of the management team or investing due to the quality of the asset. Of course, the answer is always sort of like a bit of both. But if you had to give, like you say, it could only be one, I would always choose the management team, because you have a good management team which is really good at pushing their product. That will always help in the promotion of like an average asset. But if you've got the greatest deposit in the world, if your management team isn't good, doesn't know how to sell and promote the assets, then that sale price and that share price is never ever going to go higher, and they'll never go from exploration through to development and into production. So I think the first point is the management is definitely the most important part. Certainly, like myself, when I choose to make a private investment. I think the second thing as well, again, slightly building upon what you're saying as well, the great thing about the mining industry, and this point I really want to get along to investors listening in who are maybe generalist investors and not necessarily natural resource investors. The great thing about the mining industry is the CEOs and the heads of investor relations love to talk to retail investors. They love to go and share their story. They love to go and tell you as to what they're doing. They actually really look forward to the one-to-one meetings, and they're not bothered whether you're planning to invest, $10,000, $100,000 or $1 million. They want to go and talk to you. They want to go and sell their story. And they are very, very friendly and conducive to taking one-to-one meetings with you.
I completely agree with you. And as a generalist investor and broadcaster, I find the mining culture to be the friendliest, the most engaging, and the most fun. You really do have a good time in this culture, in good times or bad times. And I have to tell you, after attending your conference and moderating a couple of panels in London recently, in November and December of last year, I found the sentiment, for the most part, in a market which was nearing a bottom, to be quite optimistic, very optimistic, for precious metals, base metals, battery metals, everything.
Yeah, and I think that obviously we've kind of talked about gold and that the optimism behind the price of gold and that the price of gold will definitely go up this year. Historically, when gold goes up, sort of follows it and will actually go up as well. I think when it comes to battery metals, as probably a lot of your sort of listeners will know, is that there's very, very strong interest in the electric vehicle revolution and all the stories going around about decarbonisation and energy transition. Investing in companies that are part of that, what better opportunity than to go and invest in a mining company that produces copper, or a mining company that produces lithium, or a mining company that produces graphite. And we've got a lot of those companies coming along to the event in Miami.
And you can learn quite a bit by attending this event, Minds and Money Miami, February 23rd and 24th. I will see you there. I'm looking forward to it. Andrew, thank you so much for joining me today on the program.
Thank you very much for your time, Alex.
I've been speaking with Andrew Thake, Divisional Director of Minds and Money, as we discuss Minds and Money Miami. Register now for this exclusive event in Miami on February 23rd and 24th. I'll see you there. Go to mindsandmoney.com. That's mindsandmoney.com. I'm Ellis Martin.
Subscribe to the Ellis Martin newsletter. It's free. Go to ellismartinreport.com and fill out the quick and easy pop-up form.